on MacArthur Avenue, where our office is, quite a few businesses, the signs are up on a 2-hour parking limit. And I probably have more calls on that in the last week than anything in a long time. They're enforcing that. What I learned on it, let y'all know too. I used to think that when you put a 2-hour parking limit on it, I have no problem with the stance the city's taken, the police department, none at all. I thought you went out and moved your vehicle where you had to go to somewhere, to lunch. When you come back, you had another 2 hours. It's 2 hours total, cumulative, the way they're doing it right now. First time today, I've walked out my office on Friday, and I saw 2 cars parked down MacArthur Avenue, and went and peeked down Main Street. And usually where you see cars on Main Street, none, gone. I mean, so it's working. They were writing tickets the other day. Fortunately, they were kind of giving everybody a heads up and a warning. Glenn called me earlier that day. He said, the police guy come by and see you. You didn't say which officer. And I said, no, I ain't seen him yet. He didn't say nothing else. Well, about 3 o'clock he came. He wrote me a warning, too. I mean, so they're handing them out. So I parked. I used my hour, one of my 2 hours, or my total 2 hours today. When I came in this morning, I parked in front. But after that, I parked in the back. And I'll go out 7, 8 times a day, but I'm parking back in the parking lot behind the theater. I did get a call from a lady, and I called her back today. She says, Todd, I'm handicapped. Okay, I said, well, let me see how they address handicap if you're a business owner. Well, it made sense when I asked Glenn. I said, Glenn, what do you do in that situation? And he says, Todd, the handicap is for the patrons of the business. Okay, not the business owner. Okay, so in other words, if you're a business owner and you still got a handicap sticker, it's my understanding you are subject to that 2-hour limit and the fine also. So y'all, we got a lot of calls, and I know I did. Well, I walk down Main Street a lot, and I've gotten stopped a number of times by a couple business owners saying the person beside me and their employees park here all day, and there's nothing we could do about it till now. I think is a good thing. Obviously, there's parking spaces in back. A lot of these businesses, there's parking lots close to businesses. So you can't have it both ways if a business owner calls one of y'all. Okay, hopefully, if you don't have parking spaces, and you hear it all the time in Dillon about parking, so we're trying to improve that. And one way of improving that is enforcing the parking uptown on the time limit. All I can tell you is working over on MacArthur Avenue. And before this, I would have vehicles parked there all day long. And literally some days there were no spots on MacArthur Avenue, none, all day. The cars are staying there all day. So it's been an improvement. It's a little inconvenient. We're sorry about that, but for the overall, I think overall it's good. And we'll try to work with you. That's what the police officers were doing the other day, explaining it to people. I know we got called names. Got left out. So said they're going to come to council. I said, well, let them come.
Are they giving any leeway on the side streets for those of us that don't have any parking spots? I don't have a parking spot with my property. I do, the Council on Aging, we have that private lot over there, but that is all the parking we have for our whole area. Do we have any agreement with the Presbyterian Church or anything like that? I mean...
Well, the only 2-hour parking is strictly Main Street and MacArthur Avenue.
Okay, now there is a sign on 4th, so...
It's an old sign that we need to remove.
So we're good, okay.
It's just Main Street. The last time we did something was probably in the early 2000s, and it named Main Street and any side streets that we thought was needed. And then on Main Street, it does not include in front of the courthouse, the post office, or in front of the city-county complex. It's actually from Martin Luther King down to your business
Okay.
or pose as far as Main Street. Then the side streets, the only one is MacArthur Avenue at this time.
Okay.
Is that an ordinance the city has?
Yeah.
So is it possible you could change,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, for the handicaps?
Well, the handicap, you're going to defeat your purpose. I mean, if you got business owners parking in handicap spots, whether, and they're parking legally because they're handicapped or have the handicap sticker, what happens to your customers who come downtown who need to park in handicap? I mean, there's not, off-street parking that we have is all handicap accessible.
So there is handicap accessible parking from the rear of most
It
buildings.
should be, yes. And that's something we'll check, especially in our public parking areas, to make sure that we have handicap parking.
We might need to designate some spots in the
But I mean, if
back
you
alley
use it
parkings.
for that purpose on Main Street, you're really defeating the purpose.
Yeah.
Because I think
But I think what Mr. Brady's saying, maybe we can look at
Yeah.
that and see.
see what we got in our public parking areas for handicap. Because I think there's only one handicap parking space per block. Yeah. So,
Railroad Avenue doesn't have a 2-hour limit.
no.
They finished up, the contractors for CSX just finished up that side on Railroad Avenue. There's 3, I think, handicap parking spots there.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks good. It took a long time. And we had people, a few business owners that are glad they're done. Now they're switching to the other side, doing something. And they have totally transformed that area. Looked like we lost some space on the train station, but that's their property. They're very wide, I know that. My chamber director stopped me one day and said, "What do we do with the play? I've got somebody cleaning this." I said, "Well, the person come in to clean the theater is a subject just like anybody else." They're subject to the 2-hour. If you got a performance, I think if you let y'all know it's
That's,
going weird.
that's a different thing, yeah. Because, normally you don't have that during 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, or, things of that nature.
It'll work out.
Yeah.
It'll work out. I think overall it's going to work out fine, and things seem to settle down today. And, people are finding other spots. The lot behind the theater was full today, but there were spots there, so they're using them, and that's what it's there for. It seems to be working out okay. I don't know if y'all seen it. If you've gone down 8th Avenue, you've constantly seen this radar down there. It's now on Jackson Street, and it seems to be working. I wish David was here. I would ask him. I can't recall seeing any accidents lately, or hearing about too many on 8th for Jackson. It looks like it's brought the focus to people slowing down.
It's very effective.
It's effective. Somebody gave Glenn, they were hitting us pretty good on speeding on Jackson Street, killing cats or dogs going by there, and they're pulling people on Jackson. Let me tell you, now they even pulled the solicitor. They pulled the solicitor from out of town too, and so they're pulling you over. So if you want a chance to test it, go right ahead.
Is it possible we can rotate it more often than what we do, Todd?
I'll get with David. That's probably good. It probably needs to be rotated.
They try to move it as much as they can.
Well, I had 3 or 4 constituents call me over the past 3 or 4 weeks. And Monroe Street, that leads into 8th Avenue, coming off 301, can we possibly do something there to help?
And we try to put it in the high vehicle area as far as number of vehicles, but yeah, Monroe, we could do that.
Okay.
I think they're open to put it somewhere,
I wish we had more of it.
issue. That's fine. So watch your speed. They're out there. They are pulling people.
And if we see a street that's happening on, we can let it know.
Yes, ma'am, just let us know.
I know Glenn said the tickets have really, the pace is way up there since the officers have been informed to keep an eye out on those problem areas. Let y'all know, and we are looking at a St. Patrick's Day event. It's kind of in the early stages. If y'all have any ideas, bring it up, but right now, nothing's been done. Talking with Glenn that, a lot of cities have St. Patrick's Day events, we don't. I'm thinking of, the Christmas tree lighting went so well on the courtyard, on Railroad and off of Main Street, across the First Bank, on the side of First Bank. I think that's an ideal spot. Maybe a Friday, we're trying to determine if it's going to be a Friday or Saturday during the day or in the evening. What we're kind of looking at is nothing too major because we got the festival to follow the month. I don't want to stress everybody out with the chamber and the security and everything with that coming right behind it. But I think the people would enjoy somewhere to go on St. Patrick's Day. We're talking to a couple of the restaurants about doing some Irish food, hors d'oeuvres, maybe looking at charging a small ticket price for the food. Beverages, probably, we're weighing that decision too. We're looking for entertainment in the form of somebody coming to do some Irish jigs, dances, okay, locally or out of town, or both. So, we're going to even look at the fountain, for everything green. Just an opportunity for people to get out of the house. So keep your, if you've got anything to add on there that you'd like to see, get with me or Glenn or Johnny at the chamber. And, we'll certainly do all we can do to try to make it a good first event like the Christmas tree lighting was. I think it'll be much better because the night of the Christmas tree lighting is always busy. Then there's the state championship football game. So, if you want a band, that's fine. I don't necessarily know if we have to have a band. We can have the music out there. Just something to get out the house and go talk to people, co-mingle. That's what we're starving for here in town. It's an opportunity to do that. Mary Daniel brought this up to me, and let me bring this to y'all's attention. Starting, they're going to do, and they've done this before, a pop-up farmers market sponsored by the Dillon County Health Initiative, second Monday of the month through April through October. I asked her would she consider doing it during the St. Patrick's Day, but there's not too much they can offer during that time of the year on product. But going forward, this is what we're looking for to bring activity to Main Street, getting people uptown. I think one day they did this, they had 200 people shows up for it. Again, it's April through October, 4 to 6 p.m. downtown Dillon.
In that same area where the
I think in that same area. I think that's the best spot that we have downtown. It's a nice spot. If you haven't been up there, it's a very large area, much bigger than you think when you ride by. So keep that in the back of your mind. I did have contact, or have been contacted about 2 charities that wanted to get involved selling stuff for their organization at the St. Patty's Day event, the Humane Society being one, and there's been a little talk with the Junior Charity League also. Just makes it that much better. So get those people out that have stuff they want to do. They'll spread the word. People will come for their cause. They'll get tied up in other things. So just make it a good event. Marion has them, I think. Mullins has them. Florence has it every year. It's a big event. Dillon's never had one. So again, this will be another thing we'll do. Will be the first time, to my knowledge. I don't ever remember the event downtown in St. Patrick's Day. So we want the restaurants involved. People come out, just to have good charities come out. If you want to show what your charity is, to bring attention to your charity, this is a good time to do it. I think Betsy's definitely going to help with advertising on that TBA. It's off Steve, so you'll know. Let me put it that way. You won't hear, I didn't know about it. You'll know. Anything anybody want to add on that?
Well, we are meeting tomorrow on this event. Right now, we're looking at Saturday, March the 17th.
Good. That's a good time.
And which that is actually St. Patrick's Day. And the idea is is, as you said, bring people downtown. So we feel like it needs to be done early afternoon, late morning, early afternoon, get people downtown, maybe visit some shops, and just get traffic in the area. We go from there.
Y'all let us know what time you're looking at. What
We actually had a group of young ladies for the competition dance group when my daughter was in high school that went to Ireland to dance and perform in the St. Patrick's Day Parade in Dublin, Ireland. And they performed for the President of Ireland while they were there in a separate event. Wish they were still around to do it. It was a
I did have a lady,
Fun group.
and I can't remember who brought it to my attention, but she's going to contact the fellow that plays the bagpipes. Would we like him? I said, sure. I love hearing bagpipes. So all kind of things, people are starting to get out.
even though it's Scotch.
Even though it's Scotch, but I love the bagpipes.
Scotch Irish.
Scotch Irish. I know we're planning on talking to Sherry Adams. You get the children out, the grandparents, the parents come.
Yeah.
There's
Sherry might even be able to get a group together and teach them something at that time.
there's a group in Florence that specializes in Irish and Hartsville.
Well, I was hoping council would try to learn some river dancing between now and then.
Well,
I volunteer, Johnny.
But anything else, y'all please chime in and help us out with ideas. Not only that, public too, okay, 'cause this is gonna run all February. Anything y'all like to add? Or the public, y'all been to prior events, let us know what was a hit, what was good. And with that, then, I'm all out of air.
All right. To bring up some information we discussed last month on the possible sale of our lease agreement that we have with AT&T Sale that's located on our West Jackson Street water tank to a group called Lease Advisors out of California. One of the questions that was brought up last month was, one, were we able to do it based on our agreement, and we are. Two, there was questions of, we have 20 some odd years left on the agreement with AT&T that we have right now. The question was, would we lose money by selling, and what happens if AT&T came in today and said, we want to terminate the agreement? Is there a penalty that we would collect? And Jack and I went back through those agreements last month, and yes, we can reassign or sell the agreement that we have. And two, AT&T could walk in today and terminate the contract and the agreement and owe us no money. So based on that information, I submitted, I think back in your packet, the proposal from Lease Advisors, and they gave us three options. And whichever option you would like to do, that's what the option we would do. But I guess the first and foremost question is, do you want to sell the AT&T agreement to Lease Advisors?
To me, it makes sense because it locks it in for at least a given period of time. Who knows what technology is going to do in the next 5-10 years. And they might be bouncing the signal off of a satellite by then, and we would be completely out of, they would terminate the lease. So I think if we can lock it in for that third option.
Which is for 50 years, and they would pay us $234,000 over the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Which would be an increase of about $8,000 annually that we're getting right now.
But if your lease is, 20 years left on it?
I think it goes to 2034, 2035, somewhere in that area. So what's that? 17 years, 18 years left. So this would be 7 years less than what we have in place.
But a higher amount every
A
year.
higher amount of money.
And
yes.
guaranteed.
And
for
guaranteed.
the time.
And then they would also market that tower for additional sale companies to locate on that tower. And if they did that and got someone else to go on that tower also, whatever revenue was generated, they get 50%, we get 50%.
So we're bound, and they're bound for 10 years.
Yes,
Binding on
yes.
both sides for 10
Yes.
years, after that is no longer binding. On
Pretty
either
much,
party.
yeah, pretty much.
Did they show any interest in the new water tank?
Yes, they did, absolutely. And that would be another agreement down the road. It wouldn't be a part of this. Because they just strictly right now talking about the West Jackson Street tank.
You and Jack, the one that kind of went through those figures and decided
Yeah.
that's right. You need a,
Well,
so that now.
I do need a vote to go forward, because it just didn't stop tonight. We have to come back with an ordinance and those kind of things. But to give these folks, hey, go ahead and do what needs to be done, and then we go from there. But I need a vote to whether you want to accept it or not.
Option number 3.
Option
I'll put
number
in the
3.
motion that we proceed with drawing up legal agreements to go with option number 3 with $234,000 over the next 10 years.
I'll second the motion.
All right, got a motion. All in favor, please do so by indicating aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Carried. So this is just moving it along to the next step.
That is correct.
This eliminates, this replaces AT&T, right?
That's all it does.
With a higher.
That's all it does.
And like I say,
And gives us opportunities for somebody, because right now, we don't market these things. Somebody calls and says, y'all be interested in renting a space. These people do this as a business because it puts money in their coffers, but at the same time, we get money too, so. Also in your packet, submitted some information from Council on Aging on their building. It's located on East Main Street, in fact, right beside GG and Doc's. For history purposes, that used to be old City Hall, Police Department, and Fire Department. And we have talked before, if we're really wanting a change to happen on Main Street with buildings, we kind of got to lead by example, I think, being that we own that building. Council on Aging has gone out and got 3 proposals to do some replacement of the windows, do some painting, some stucco work that needs to be repaired, awnings that need to be replaced, and the bids that we got, the low bid was $29,892. Second lowest was $31,158, and the highest bid was $32,353. Speaking with Joni Spivey today with Council on Aging, was the question I had for her, is there any money available from their side to help with this project? And right now there is no money. She is applying for a grant to do some upfit work inside the building, because the inside of the building needs some things done in it. But she said she had no money to go towards the outside of the building. So what would you folks like to do?
are the 3 estimates based on the same scope of work?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Was the bids advertised?
I can't say that because I didn't do that. She did it, Council on Aging.
Well, I think before we go forward and have a vote, we should make sure that it was advertised so everybody had the opportunity to put a bid in
We can do
to
that.
do the work.
We can do that. Because if you want to spend the money, and since it looks like if it's going to be done, we'd have to spend 100% of the money, I think the bids need to come out of my office instead of Council on Aging.
And I think you need to be specific in the bid specs or the request for proposal. Were these approved by the bar at all? Or was it-
She went through the bar, and I don't have that, back in November, am I correct? I think it said that in her
Who
letter.
approved it? Were they approved by the bar?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think she mentions that in her letter, but she did go back in November,
That's correct.
is when she came before the bar. But if you want to go forward, I can go by, yeah, absolutely. We can bid it out ourselves and do that since, if we're gonna pay 100% of the cost. Because like I said, she didn't have any monies from the state or federal to do anything with that. She was working on, I think she said $200,000 grant to do things inside. But yeah.
How does that actually work, Lynn, when you advertise it and put it out for bid? What's the process for that? Do you know that offhand?
Usually 30 days. Once you get it out and bid, you give them 30 days to respond.
So by next council meeting, you should have,
Maybe have it, maybe, possibly. And just based on these estimates here, our own ordinance says anything over $30,000, we have to do certain things as far as bidding process, so it may take a little longer than that.
Was she looking to get this done right away, or
Well-
there's no need for that?
I think she'd love to have it done today, Ms. Manning, but, you know, she understands the process. That she does. All right, I'll go forward and look and see what we can get other bids or put it out for a more formal type deal since we're looking at $30,000. Next item I have that I've talked about several months now and hoping to come back with better news tonight and tell you that our water tank on Highway 34 was operational. I cannot sit here and tell you that. I can tell you that water's in the tank and that we have tested it for back tees, and everything has passed and been submitted to DHEC. DHEC will be here tomorrow to do an inspection on site, and if that passes, they should issue us a permit either tomorrow or on Wednesday, and once we get the permit in hand, we can turn the system on. We're looking forward to it.
are we gonna advertise for the west side residents?
Well, we'll put it on Facebook, and hopefully Betsy being here, she will have some things on her stuff and maybe in the newspaper, but if all goes well, we'll hope to turn it on Wednesday. That's the goal. The last thing I have, Mr. Jim Wright informed me today that he has sent out 7 letters to businesses on Main Street that are covered by the maintenance appearance code that we have. And those 7 businesses have been talked about, or talked to and discussed with what actually is wrong with the building as far as facade looking things. We have now sent out letters today, certified letters to these 7 businesses saying, here's what you got to do, here's the time frame to get it done. So what is that, 30 days?
Yes, sir.
30 days to respond.
Yes, sir.
And then once they respond, they then have to pull the permits.
Yes, sir. I mean, when it was sent to the owners of the renters.
Those are actually sent to the owners, owner of the building, because ultimately they're the responsible folks for that.
So by next council meeting, we should be seeing some renovation work being done.
No, they have 30 days to respond to his letter.
Okay.
But I've seen some renovation work being done this year.
So,
I just was trying to make sure we learn the
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
How it really works.
and you may get a phone call from 1 or 2 of them, saying, well, why y'all doing this? I mean, this is our maintenance code, and we won't. And it goes back once again, if we're going to send these folks letters, we've got to clean our own yard per se, i.e. council on aging. So. I think that's all I have at this time.
Anything anybody will bring our attention out there? Regular guest, Stephanie, yes, ma'am.
I have some concerns. I'd like for y'all to look at the ordinance on I'm not sure, the sidewalk upkeep. I asked about doing a sidewalk sale on Main Street. And I know there's different, certain things on the ordinance right now. I didn't know until it was brought to my attention. You're not supposed to have boxes and things out on the sidewalk. But I do know prior to that, evidently I broke the law, sorry. But when I put something out on the street, whether it's just a small rack of clothes or a little table, of course I don't ever obscure the sidewalk. I leave plenty of room out there. But when I have stuff out on the sidewalk, my traffic doubles in the store. Therefore, my profits and prices, sales double. When I get more, the city gets more. So having said that, I've talked to several people. We want to do a downtown, Main Street type not yard sale, sidewalk sale. I would only ask that we would be able to do it once a quarter, so it's not too often, that we would have to let the council know what date it was going to be on, offer a rain date. Of course, the council can tell us, how far out we can put the stuff. When I was just doing some measurements today, it looks like you can go out about 4.5 feet and still have a good 3.5 to 4 feet or more of sidewalk clearance. And just maybe the council would limit us to one clothing rack of no larger than whatever size and one table or whatever. But I know when people see stuff on the sidewalk, they get excited. And then if they get to the sidewalk, they get in the store. So if that's something that y'all would please consider revising and looking at, if we need to apply for a permit or whatever, please make it a small fee so it's affordable. And, I think the merchants would be glad to do that because several people are really excited about doing that.
What does it say now, Benny?
Sidewalk sales are prohibited.
Well, I mean,
Anything on the sidewalks prohibited. If it blocks the pedestrian.
but I thought we made we did some changing there.
No, sir.
We never did it.
Well, let's look at it if it accommodates the business owner. Let's make it work. One thing, the Kintyre house used to put tables out. You talking about blocking the
Well, I was just thinking, and they still do, and we kind of, but I like the idea, is what Stephanie's brought up to a point where you apply for whether we charge a fee or not. At least it's easier for us to keep up.
Right, and then you can police it, because you may have to have more, law enforcement that day.
Well, the only thing I'm concerned about is in what you want somebody coming by in a motorized wheelchair to be able to ride down the sidewalk.
Right.
And, if you don't block that, I just don't see an issue with applying something, letting us know ahead of time.
Well, and we've looked at some things, because I think in our facade grant, we're allowing you to use some facade money to purchase plants and planters to go on the sidewalk. So I think it's something that we can absolutely do and have whatever the maximum distance from the front of your building to the sidewalk that you can encroach upon. Whether it's 2 feet, 3 feet, or 5 feet, I'm not sure, but that's something we can look at. Maybe bring back by next month,
Anything, maybe even once a week. I don't know, maybe once a quarter.
And then again, it may be where you don't put any stipulation on how many times you can do it. Because if you do that, it's going to be hard to control or keep an eye on.
Yeah, all you got to do is have at least one officer goes and back it up, talk to them, and it generally solves the problem.
How does that work with the highway department where the right-of-way is on the sidewalks?
It's their sidewalks.
All the way to the building?
Yeah, it's their sidewalks, and
We learning that right now with Bert and I on Sydney's restaurant.
I think what happens is in something like that, if someone would trip over a clothes rack or piece of furniture, it wouldn't be the state. They would say, hey, you're on our right of way. It would either fall back on the city for allowing it and or the business owner from a liability.
That's what happened at Harmon Park years ago.
Yeah. Everything we do, there's liability.
The business owner would have liability coverage under their policy extending outside of their premises if it's a business-related activity. So they would be the primary source of liability coverage should something like that happen. And perhaps we stipulate that any business that wants to do that has to provide a certificate of liability to the city showing that they have their own coverage. then it puts the responsibility squarely back under the business owner.
Stephanie, have you spoken to other business owners about doing sidewalk sales?
Yes.
Is there a day that is a better day than other days to do it?
It just depends on the weather. If it's sunny, that's when you need to get your stuff out, because people are gonna stop.
Would
if
y'all
the
do it on
weather's
the same day is what I'm asking?
We tried to do that, yes. I mean, we would like to do that because then you can advertise and you can get like more people downtown, you know, to actually shop the entire Main Street. But some of us have more product to move than others, so it just depends on what's going on.
And I also think if we ever can get the downtown association going, those people can help with that.
How's that going?
I'm not
It's
sure.
going real slow.
Oh, is it?
Real slow.
That answers my question.
But if, you know, if we can ever get everybody on board to, you know, for them to come together as a meeting and an organization, you know, that's gonna help. And everybody's getting the same information and coming up with ideas too.
Anybody else? Unfinished business, we have none. New business, we have none. Council member reports. Mr. Eller?
Glenn, do we have a game plan or a time frame on when we are going to start removing the island in the road? I know we said March.
Got the permits actually mailed to me today. We are, when I say we, city staff led by Burton and his folks are gonna actually take out those islands. And then we've got to contract with somebody probably to come back and resurface the area that we're taking out. And then, you know, as we've talked about before, the state's gonna allow us to do that. And then hopefully in 2019, C funds had said they would come back and resurface that whole block from curb to curb. So if all goes well, hopefully sometime between now and the end of March, we will have it completed.
The downtown coordinator, has she, I know she just started, but has she gotten all the business owners downtown? And
I cannot sit and tell you she has. I'm assuming she has.
She is working on it. I know at Rotary Club today, Don Stout mentioned to me that he has met with her, so she is getting out with people.
Well, I know she spoke at Rotary Club, was it last Monday? Last Monday. I met with her today on another issue, and she's going this week to the Main Street program in Columbia, I think Wednesday or Thursday, to get some information from that. So,
but going back to the sidewalk sales and stuff with Stephanie and her business and other people's business, I just wondered maybe she might be able to get involved.
well, she was involved in Stephanie said she might have broken the law.
Okay, I got you.
Because Stephanie got with Bridget and talked to her about it, so Bridget got with me and Penny and kind of looks, well, yeah, we like it, but I don't think we can allow it based on our own ordinance. So yeah, she's getting involved with that.
Okay, the police cars,
Mm-hmm.
I noticed we got some money back, I guess, from the insurance, from the car we wrecked. Have we bought the replacement of the car?
I think yes, an Explorer
Okay.
that's going on the road to a patrol car.
That's all I see I got now, John. John?
Any of the old yellow house on First Avenue that's condemned that was the restaurant.
Yes.
Is there any movement on that as far as the condemnation process, or what's the status on that?
So the structure of the building, they hadn't made any process on, but the vegetation, things that was around it, they cut the grass, removed the vegetation, but the house itself is still slowly deteriorating.
Yeah.
The siding is starting to fall off of it, as well as the window frames. So it's
I know they have
unoccupied.
it listed for sale, but.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what would be the next step on that?
I would hate to say demolish, but that is the very next step. It's already past 60 days, and I've spoken to the real estate company and to the bank that owns the house, and they hadn't made any progress.
How much is that property listed for, do you know?
No, sir.
But it is a foreclosure on property by the bank.
From what I understand, yes, sir.
All right. It's just looking worse and worse. I know they help by cleaning it up some, but it really is deteriorating.
Yes, sir.
That's all.
Let me make a comment on the, y'all might have heard, I was in the county office last week, 2 or 3 days on the economic development job, which I initially, after 2 nights of turning it over, I swear that's the hardest decision I ever had to make. And they could tell because I changed my mind and called Rodney Berry on a Saturday morning that I had reconsidered and thought it best I not. It was tough. They wanted me to move pretty fast on it. I certainly weren't the first one. I was in a line of people, which got me thinking. I think going forward, I think the city and the county need representatives from each council to sit down at least on a quarterly basis on what the needs of each one of us are. I think that would help. Politics has gotten just so horrendous in the county that, you know, my first reason for turning that down was when I got back to office Friday morning when I told them I would on an interim basis. And, you know, I've been to development school twice. And, you know, they said, we're going to pay you this much. Well, you know, in industry you hear about salary being clawed back. Well, I clawed it back from the start. I didn't even want much of an income on that because I love doing that. That just excited me. That's what got the best of me when they came to me on it, was that, you know, how excited I was with the port and explaining to me what they wanted me to do. Then I got back Friday afternoon when I went to see them that Friday morning and said I would. I'm just glad I told them to hold off on the press release till the following Monday. They wanted to do it Friday. So if they had done it Friday, I probably could not have changed my mind, and I wouldn't have. But I did. The port's a huge deal. I don't know what the county was looking for in a new economic development person when I understand Rodney's going to take more economic development on his shoulders. That was, I'll admit, that was some of my concern. What do you need me for? But my first reason was that I just found out I didn't have the time. I went back to my office Friday afternoon when I'm generally slow, and I had bam, bam, bam. I had 3 calls from people of mine. And a lot of my clientele's old, and I have to hold their hand on the simplest things. I got 1 girl in my office, and I don't have room for anybody else. And that opened my eyes. That was my primary reason with the mayor. My work, then my family, and then this was just really too much on anybody's plate, especially one like mine. But I think we need to sit down with the county and put the politics aside going forward. And I hope they find somebody that will do a great job for all of us. There's certainly a tremendous opportunity for the county in that right now what they're telling me, they're getting so many calls that he needs help answering the calls and telling people what's available, what are your needs, here's what we got. So I hope they find the right person. We'll see. I do know with us, I tell you where the big need's coming, because they discussed it, is the sewer capacity. They can get all the industry they want, say they want to come, if you don't have the infrastructure to service them. And that's where we a player at, and I think that's part of the reason we need to sit down and find the funding to expand the infrastructure. It can't be all on the city's shoulders, and and it couldn't be because we can't afford it. But we need to find a way going forward to solve that problem. That's a long-term problem, so it needs to be started. But I appreciate the support. There was a bigger backlash than I ever anticipated. I told somebody, my best friend let me know straight up what he felt. But it was tough, that was a tough decision, but they'll find the right person, and I wish them the best on it. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
I don't have anything.
You mentioned that monitoring, speed monitoring, I thought on it since we spoke about it. And people have been asking me about this particular street, 3rd and Calhoun, and it starts at Calhoun.
Yes, ma'am.
And it goes from 3rd, on 3rd, all the way down, around that curve, around where the fire department and that far down. Kind of a speed trap down through in there. 'Cause people had been asking me about the speed through there before, and I never addressed it. But now that you bring that up, and I used to come out there on Earl Street, up to 3rd Street, and look both ways, and before I can get out, it's called right up on me, and that's happened to me several times. So I noticed the speed from Calhoun all the way down to the curb.
Yeah,
That's about 3 or 4 blocks.
Yes, ma'am.
And also, do we have any control over the railroad tracks, crossings, how terrible they
No,
are?
ma'am, we do not.
So, because there's,
What we can do is, I can let the state know, and then the state deals with the railroad. But actually, the roads cross over the railroad property instead of the railroads crossing over the state property.
say no on, that's Earl Street.
Earl?
That's Earl.
Okay.
That railroad track right there, there's a lot of I guess those spikes standing up, and because the cross ties are decayed, and because they came up there tonight, I forgot, they used to go on the other side of the road to avoid them, and I hope I don't have any flat tires out there now when I go back out there, because it's and I remember stopping and looking, and there's spikes are standing up there.
That's running east and west, isn't it?
West.
Where you cross the railroad track over here,
Right,
correct?
and come over to 3rd,
Yeah.
and then I come over
Okay.
over here. And that's,
We'll see what we can find out.
because I guess they prepare, the ones like that CVS and right out here, they're cemented, but these in the neighborhood.
Those are not, that's
Ooh,
correct.
yeah.
Yeah. I'll see if I can pass that on to the right people.
Todd, I missed a couple things I'd like to share.
I'm good.
I want to also echo what you said, Todd. 9 years I've been on this city council, and we've only met with the county one time, and that was with the jail. So I would really like for us to have a better working relationship. We were doing them quarterly, we done the one at the steakhouse, and it fell through the cracks. So that is something we really need to do, is work out, our differences and work better together. Also want to mention on a positive note, $50,000, we hit an all-time high on the hospitality. And that's something I think the citizens need to know. And then I want to think I'm right. Janet, you're going to have to help me with this. The wellness center, I think, finally made a revenue for this month. I could be wrong. But I want you to guide me, all right? Because I know I mentioned the wellness center and I mentioned the golf course sometimes. But I do want to, if we did make a revenue, I want you to
When
let
you
me
say
know
make
before
a
you bring
revenue,
me. Yeah. Well, I want to find out, what is the capital outlay? What does that mean?
That is any purchase above $5,000, but in the wellness center, is that what you're asking about?
Yes, ma'am.
That is the flooring.
Yeah.
That's the
Okay, take
flooring
that
out
out.
there.
And is the membership at an all-time high?
Well, I doubt that. Let's see.
What would you do, take the 32,000 and divide it by the 35 monthly?
Well, January is always your better month.
Okay.
And then February's not bad. Come April, it decreases.
So if that's correct, the revenue side, the 38,000 we made a revenue, and you take the capital outlay out of the equation, we made a revenue.
Very possible, yes. Let's see what the 38,000 in revenue for the month.
Right.
We spent the month 115,000. Of that, 87,000 was the money we used to put in a new basketball court.
Take that out.
Is that in there? That wouldn't be,
That was the
yeah.
floor.
Why would it be showing up in January?
That's when we paid
That's
for
when
it.
we pay for it.
They
That's
didn't bill
great.
us until then.
Yeah. Which we get a grant that's coming back for 70-some odd thousand
So
dollars.
would I have it?
Yeah,
A positive,
yeah,
Positive.
yeah.
yeah.
That is correct.
Last thing, talking to Mitchell Carter the other day, their focus has been out on the port and with the roads here, the snow, I know there's been a lot of damaged roads. Y'all all, politics is local and so are potholes, okay? With potholes, when you get a call for, if it's not so big, does the city, can the city handle that or we need to contact you to contact DOT?
Sometimes we do, if it's something we can get to right away. If not, we'll call in and let them know. And normally they're real good about fixing.
Okay.
They get better asphalt than we get.
Okay, good. They need to let them do it, you let them know. Okay, if there's nothing else for the good council, I have a motion to adjourn.
Yes, sir.
Thank you all for coming.